Hello, welcome to Cinemano with Kathy and Amit from D54. We are going to talk about a cool horror movie that came out a while ago, but we've been catching up with some Arun Matheson movies, and one of them was Rocky. It starred Vasanth Ravi, and he was Rocky in that movie, and that just kind of alerted us to we need to see more of this guy's movies because he's pretty great. He was also in Jailer.
Yeah.
Small role, but
yeah. He was in Jailer, which surprised me because after we saw him in Rocky, and I was like, wow, this guy's pretty cool. He can do a lot. In that really contained sort of role that he had in Rocky, but a really great performance from that. And then just to see him in Jailer being sort of a side character. Now, of course, that movie had, Rajinikanth, and it had a whole bunch of cameos from everyone in the, well, I guess in the Indian industry, because it had cameos from everyone, from a lot of different industries, I guess. But yeah, he was also there, so I guess it makes a bit of sense in that way. But I was looking forward to seeing him in a more prominent role, and that's what Asvins offered us. So it was cool to see a old horror movie. Plus, I've not seen, I'm still getting familiar with Indian horror movies. I guess it's not like it's I think there's a lot more horror movies in Hollywood, at least from my experience and what I've seen. So I'm still getting comfortable and still just want to see what's out there and how they approach horror. So this was interesting. This had a lot of different aspects to it, which I hadn't seen before from a horror movie.
Yeah, it did. It was this, we've talked about this a lot. We've been seeing a lot of really great debuts, first time directors doing these really, confident, outings on their first try. This was directed by Tarun Teja. This was his first movie. So he did, he got Vasanth Ravi in his first movie. He, it's a horror movie, which is always a good choice as a first movie because, they can be relatively low budget and the horror fans will show up. They will come. And I just personally love found footage. I love found footage.
Yeah, that's the part I liked about this movie.
I love it.
I haven't seen that before.
No, I think, is this the first Indian found footage? I think it might be. I mean, I don't know. For me, it is.
For me, it is too. I don't know of any other because we have seen a few horror movies.
Yeah.
Across our two channels, and we've sort of covered them, but I can't remember a found footage one specifically. There's not even that many found footage movies in Hollywood, is there? Like, I'm talking to the expert here.
No,
which are the popular ones? I know, like Blair Witch is the big one, and Paranormal Activity was a big one. Are there much more as well?
Oh, 1,000. They're really easy.
Well, there you go.
They're complicated, but you can make them on a low budget because they don't have to look great. If you're showing like the Blair Witch, you're showing through their bad cameras or their cheap cameras. It's better that it looks worse than better. So it's an easy low budget trick, and I never get tired of it. And what I love is that they don't show it from like a third person point of view. It has to all be through their cameras. It can't be this unknown person filming them. Everything has to be footage that has been found and recorded by them. A lot of found footage will cheat that and not do that. And that drives me crazy. Like, not good.
Well, this movie didn't seem to do that. It seemed
it didn't. It seemed consistently good. They did a good job. And think about how limiting it is. I mean, we're going to do a trailer reaction because this movie, is out a little while ago and we want people to get a vibe. And then we're going to do a non-spoiler kind of quick review to see, let you guys know what we thought of it. But I think mostly there's some challenges with found footage that aren't with other films, which is how do you make it look good and not too nauseating when you have people running around with their cameras and giving them a reason that when terrible things are happening, they are still rolling. All right, so let's take a look at the trailer so you guys will know what we're talking about and see if this looks like your jam, because Indian found footage, that's pretty damn cool. And a great lead actor with the most soulful eyes. Besides all right, so here we go.
எல்லாருக்குள்ளேயும் ரெண்டு உயிர், எல்லார் தலைக்குள்ளேயும் ரெண்டு குரல், ரெண்டு அறிவு, two minds.
The statues are creepy.
ஒரு உலகில் கண் மூடினால் மறு உலகில் கண் திறப்போம்.
That's a creepy shot.
அந்த உலகில் மூச்சு இருந்தாலும் பயம், மூச்சு நின்றாலும் பயம்.
Love that song. All right. So there's a few things I love about horror movies for me. I love going to a big mansion that's been abandoned for a while or something, and people are exploring it. That's just a trope that I love. Especially cool one like
it
this.
Works.
It really does.
Yep, tried and trusted.
Yeah. And Vasanth Ravi is a really cool, unique actor. So it's kind of nice to have somebody like that at the lead, because you don't really know what to expect from him. He's really a good guy or a bad guy. You think he's a good guy because he's got a nice wife, and they all seem kind of they kind of look up to him, but you don't really know. And he could go either way. I mean, part of it be because I saw Rocky, the most violent film ever made. But yeah, I mean, what did you think? What do you think? Because I know you're not quite as into the horror as I am, but what did you think of that?
Yeah, just on what's it called, on lead actor here, Vasanth Ravi. I do like that they did sort of give him the space to explore sort of two sides with the whole two minds of things. So
yeah, that's true.
Two characters, and I don't know which was my favorite part, but I mean, there were some scenes with him, and like when he has that sort of maniacal face when he's on the other side of things, when he's the demons possessed him, going into a bit of spoiler territory, but that's what the premise is kind of about. There's two Vasanth Ravis essentially. Right. One's living in the real world and one's a demon world, I guess, or somewhere else. Right. I mean, he sort of has to play a role where he's doing both. And doing that is pretty impressive. And I always enjoy performances where they're able to show that side of things, because he is definitely, I mean, he is a lead actor in this, and I think he's basically almost the only actor that I would even consider in this movie, because there's not really, the cast is there, but they're really just there for a few screams, a few death scenes, and things like that. It's really a Vasanth Ravi show. But no, I quite enjoy the concept. It did have a few things that were familiar with Indian horror movies. I think they rely a lot on folklore. The ones I've seen, at least, a lot of folklore and mythology as well gets intertwined into the storyline, as does this. It is about the whole possession of him being possessed by two, I think even Asvins, we looked it up before. It's it's two horses possessing horses.
Asvins is is horse possessor.
Correct. Yeah. So that's also the so it does integrate some of that, I guess, that familiarity into the storyline too, which I sort of liked because I've seen that before, and I think it works well. Like they're staying close to what is what makes Indian movies Indian, I guess, instead of just being a generic horror movie, they're making it close to home as well. So I did of like that. But in terms of like the found footage, I liked how it wasn't 100% found footage either. Like there was parts of it, especially the start, was found footage, and later on it'd go into found footage again, but it sort of switched back and forth between the two to give us that different perspectives as well. So for a debut director, I think to do a found footage movie, even a little bit of it, is pretty good. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. The storyline was definitely something I had to spend some time understanding exactly what the reason was and why he was possessed like this. And if I thought about it deeply, maybe there were some flaws there, but I don't think it took away from the experience of actually watching this movie and just enjoying it.
Yes, that's true. And I wonder too, like I've watched it a couple times, but I should have paid more close attention on the stylistic tech stuff of like, was all the camera stuff the real world, and was the, like you said, kind of the alternate characters that were kind of in a weird sort of mysterious world. Was that when the third person camera came in, like where we're not seeing found footage? Because mostly in found footage, the rule is you have to have everything found footage. Like people filmed it while they were there, and you can't cut away to a third person filming them, because then that just kind of ruins the whole found footage.
Okay.
Technically, because you want it to look like, wow, we found all these tapes. Look what's on them, and it's supposed to be these people filming each other. Like there was a great movie came out. Did a great job. It called Outwaters. It's on Screenbox. Really cool idea where people go out to the desert to shoot like a kind of cool music video for themselves. It's these kids, and they go out, and things go awry, but they did a great job of the found footage because they had a little better equipment because they were actually doing something professional. And then, things go crazy, but they're so used to filming and trying to get the shot that the stuff looks better, but they have a reason, And then these guys, basically this is another thing I love. Ghost hunters going to an old mansion that has strange supernatural going on, and they come in to do, film it. And that's what they're there for. So they're there not just being like, hey, let's stay the night. No, they were there for a purpose. They were drawn in. They were told you need to come here and film this and make a show out of it, basically.
No,
So
I like that too.
It was a little
I like
better.
that too.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the location was fantastic. Like,
location
I'd love
was
to know
great.
more
Yeah,
about
the
the
old
location.
mansion.
Oh, so creepy.
Yeah,
Really.
it's somewhere in Kent or something like we saw, right? Some mansion in Kent, so the UK. But yeah, I did appreciate that. It wasn't just like a bunch of kids. Oh, let's go away for a getaway party, or we're going out for a honeymoon or a trip or something like that, or a bunch of friends gonna. It's like no, I think they were like, I forget exactly why they're going for, but it was yeah, I'm just reading the description here. It's a group of YouTubers who yep. So Kathy looks like our next venture.
Yeah, let's do it. We need to go to. We're gonna go and do a haunted mansion show. No, see, but the problem is, I'm such a skeptic. Like, I don't believe any of this. I love it, but I don't believe it ever. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in demons. So I would go and nothing would happen. It would be the most boring thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every time I watch those ghost shows, I'm like, really, you guys? I don't know. But that's why I love these, because they're kind of like what I want it to be. I want it to be real. I want it to be scary.
Definitely. But I did like how you mentioned it was it felt like they didn't have much time to spend on it, but they did establish the stakes very quickly as to what's happening with each character. With there was one of the younger brothers, he got like some kind of like scholarship to go overseas, and like he was like, how am I going to get this with money? And like all the friends chipped in to help him. Really touchy scene, really emotional scene.
Really sweet. Yeah, that was really sweet.
And then also like the fiance was like, I'm going to gift you something, and it's the pregnancy test. So it's like, wow, in like 5 minutes they established the stakes really quickly. So I sort of did like that because it wasn't given too much time, and this is a shorter movie from memory too.
I think it's an hour and 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, so it's a shorter movie, so
very tight.
Even within that time they're able to do quite a bit, which I appreciated. So yeah, it worked on me. I worked on different levels. It's on Netflix, which makes it easier to sort of watch again. So if there was any parts that I didn't understand, I could always go back and be like, all right, cool, let me just go back. And they did have some nice like animations to explain what exactly how the folklore works and things like that, which I think was important. When you're delving into mythology and things like that, for people like myself who don't know it that well, it's great to just have that exposition told in that way, because it just works.
Exactly. And when you're dealing with like these found footage stuff, it was a kind of a nice, unique one. Like we're saying, like, it's not just a ghost. It's like sort of this folklore demon entity who can possess you and make you believe in something that's not there. You're kind of in a weird dream world. You don't know what's real or real. I like that they bring that, because that's kind of different for a found footage. Usually it's a ghost or a monster or something that, is like a monster. So they had a very complex story to try and get across, because it had to do with the two idols, and when the two idols come together, now the demon's released, something kind of like that. So, but they didn't know that, so they're stupidly bringing the idols together. So at some point, but we're not going to give away spoilers, because horror movies depend so much on surprise. So we're not giving away too much. But I think this is a really solid found footage horror movie. Great actor, like very, very elevated, because he's just brings something unique and strong to the character, and he was very emotionally raw, and most of everything is like but yeah, I highly recommend this movie. It's like you said, it's easy to find. It's a fun, good horror movie. It's not that long. It's like a found footage movie. It's good. I really liked it.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend it to anybody who's looking to look into the world of Indian horror movies. It's something a bit different, especially for if you're somebody that doesn't watch horror movies much. This wasn't too bad, because I wouldn't even.
It wasn't that gory.
It wasn't gory. It wasn't super scary. It had some elements of possession, which might scare some people and things like that. So that's there, but it wasn't over the board like scary. I think it's still accessible to a non-horror audience.
Yeah,
it was having fun. It's on Netflix, easy to access. That's another good thing. Your expectations aren't going to be super high because you don't know much about it, and it's a good introduction to if you haven't seen much of Vasanth Ravi, then it's a good introduction to sort of see what he's done, because it's a real showcase for him. And I'm not sure how well this movie did in terms of like its critical reception, or if it was released in theaters or things like that, but it's definitely a good showcase for this pretty talented actor who I hope to see more of, to be honest.
Me too.
I haven't seen too much more of him, but the few movies I've seen with him, they've all been pretty good.
He's
so it's not bad.
He for sure is. And I think the fact that it's on Netflix, that's good. Like, if it it probably did pretty well enough to get on Netflix, and they want to show it. So very excited. So let us know if you've seen it. What's your favorite Vasanth Ravi movie, of all of them. I still think Rocky's my favorite, because it was such a blow away experience in general. I mean, fantastic director. But I like this one too because I'm a horror fan. So it's kind of two things I like: this great actor and a horror movie, and found footage. Yep. 3 things I like. So definitely let us know, and be sure to subscribe, like, and comment to D54 and Cinemondo, and we will catch you next time in the other netherworld. Bye.